Why, hello YouTube. This is Baylor Mage again. We're coming at you with, I don't know what day we're on anymore, but the next...
Every day, a streamer near you suffers from early onset Path of Exile forgetfulness disease. Millions of individuals are affected by this every year, with little to no help given to support them. That's why if you go to www.twitch.tv/BaylorMage and spam the phrase, "Remember, Grandpa," we can solve this issue together and prove that we can fight through anything together if we put our minds to it.
But the next update on Holy Relic, we have made quite some large improvements. We're going quite a bit better now. We've upped our damage significantly. We're still going to work on a bit more damage even now, but the next thing will probably be working on our tankiness. Although we are still, 65% of the way through level 96 now. And this is while we're doing 16 mod corrupted maps, which are incredibly dangerous and not reading any map mods at all. So we're going to jump into game and go through all of the things that we have changed and what we plan to do next. Here we are in game, right at the end of stream when I was setting up the path of building for the stream, which you can see over at twitch.tv/BaylorMage. While I was setting up the path of building, we realized I've spent the entire day not res capped because I changed some things and didn't realize that I had been unres capped, which means I've been doing 16 mod corrupted maps, being too short on my fire res because I've got an extra fire res more than others right here, and with only 60 lightning res, which was a horrible mistake. Super easy for me to fix. Quality a ring, get a higher lightning roll, whatever. My boots are still pretty average, haven't replaced them. This would have been super easy to fix. I just didn't know, so my bad. Okay, so let's go over some things we've changed. First of all, you'll notice we're in the Ashes setup. This happened today. It is absolutely fantastic. We have double corrupted 3 or 4 full sets of offhand gems at temples and failed every single one of them. So we are still using a level 20 gem that has 22% quality, which is enough. We had 1 quality to play with anyway. So we're doing that, but we're also in a Diala's that is +2 minions. So that added a lot of damage as well. All of our woke gems are finished leveling. We cannot afford to mass buy replacements of these right now, so I'm not varling them, but I will. These will eventually all be level 6 support gems, or I guess they are because of the runecraft, but they'll all eventually be 7s. I have changed my 6th link, which used to be added chaos, changed to enhance when I was running the Dragon Fang setup. It's actually now vile toxins, which is going to be my best 6th link if I'm not using enhance and my Holy Relic is level 26 or above. If it is below 26, you still want woke added chaos if you're not using an enhance. And if it is above, if it is 26 or above, you can now change into vile toxins. It should be in a green socket, but I got lazy. Okay. Next up, we didn't actually change any of the rest of our gear, but we did realize we've been sitting around at Chaos Res Cap for a while with a Amethyst Flask on. So I changed it to one of these. I don't even know how to say what the name of this flask is. It is very rarely ever used. Corundium flask? Either way, the real important line here is the second blue one. Cannot be stunned if you've been stunned during effect. It is a 9-second flask, which means I can now only get stunned once every 9 seconds, and I no longer have to worry about getting stunned. I was considering going back to Brine King because the 16 mod maps are a little dangerous, and getting stunned was annoying, but I'd rather keep these ones for the mitigation. So we ended up changing into the stun flask. It's quite nice. I like it. I've never used this flask before for some reason. Okay, on to the big one. Now, if you're going to follow this, you do not need to do all of the gems at the same time. I did all the gems at the same time because as a streamer, if I start putting 1 or 2 of them on, the price skyrockets. So I'm going to be real clear. You absolutely don't need to do this bit. This bit is super overkill. In fact, it's so overkill, it's ridiculous. And it's too expensive. But I'm here to min-max the shit out of this build forever. And don't let me tell you what to do. I'm not your dad. Min-max it with me if you want. I don't care. All of my jewels are now enemies withered by you have -2 to all resistances. Real importantly, this includes chaos. So we're still poison capped. With all of our jewels now have flat damage on them as well. And I still have to divine these 2 jewels. I just ran out of divines, but I want to divine 15%ers in my belt. But for now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that look exactly like that. Plus a 7th one that does not have poison chance, but instead has the Minion Leech mod. That is my single Minion Leech mod so that I can keep minions recover 5% of life on death. So that's real nice. We have added a few tattoos, but I haven't actually finished tattooing my tree. We did drop this whole block section because with Svalin and with Svalin only, we technically don't need it. I'm a little bit sad about that +1 max res. I'd love to have that. I'd love to have kept that, but I really wanted the full points back. So that is all the changes we've made to the tree. Definitely probably tomorrow or really soon we'll be changing this into a double cluster setup because I do not have forbidden jewels currently, and I would like some forbidden jewels, and there are no jewel sockets. There are not enough jewel sockets for me to do it. So double jewel socket it is. It is worth noting I took an extra jewel up here for 3 points. This is super temporary. This jewel exists because I couldn't afford to divine my good jewels, and without 1 extra jewel socket, I am not poison capped. So that's actually where 3 of these points went. The rest just went into life. But that was just to get me poison capped because I just straight up ran out of money while doing these upgrades and was like, well, I need 1 extra jewel to stay poison capped. So we've got that one for now. Big temporary thing. Okay, next thing. This is a multi-stage thing. You may notice our helmet is 2-linked and 2-linked instead of 4-linked now. My Herald of Purity still exists, is now only linked to Feeding Frenzy. My Animate Guardian of Spiting is now only linked to Meat Shield. I was only able to separate these because I got a Kingmaker. I got a Kingmaker for my Animate Guardian. It's my first big purchase for him. He's been living forever. This has been fantastic. I love him. I'm keeping the Kingmaker. I'll keep my 10 fortification stacks. Thank you. That being said, I do believe anybody can use a regular Animate Guardian, not an Animate Guardian of Smiting. And you should be able to just slot it in over the Summon Phantasms on kill. And just keep your 4-link with Feeding Frenzy, Summon Phantasm on kill, and Herald of Purity, and your Animate Guardian, your regular one. The other change I made is I actually ended up putting a level 20 Summon Raging Spirits in my Svalin shield. This is the same tech I was using for Absolution earlier. You can only do this if you have a Svalin, but it will auto proc Summon Raging Spirits. With an Ashes and a 23% quality Summon Raging Spirit, it ends up being a 79% chance to summon an extra minion. I quite often have 6, 7, sometimes 10 of these floating around. However, they do sweet fuck all damage. They are not really here for damage. They happen to be linked with faster attacks, which is funny, but not important. They don't cost any mana because of the reduced mana costs we've got and the fact that they're only a 2-link. Their job is the same as the Absolution's job. They only have 10,000 health compared to my Holy Relics that have 42,000 or my Animate Guardian of Smiting that has 25,000. So these guys all die first. They all die first and far earlier than anything else. And that will proc a bunch of recover 5% life on deaths. I do like SRS more than I liked Absolution because being one, I can use a leveled version. I could not use a leveled version of Absolution because it's self-damage and that would make me vulnerable to Reflect. Whereas Animate Summon Raging Spirit can't reflect me, so that's great. Then I can use a higher level version, which means he'll live just a little bit longer. Instead of having 500 life, it's got nearly 10,000. That means that like just getting breathed on by something that was never a threat to anyone doesn't actually take him out, which means we quite often have now 6 or 10 of them around, and when something dangerous happens, they still all die first. They still all proc the heals. It's better than Absolution. I like it. If you're in a Svalin already, go ahead and add that. If it is not free to cast, make sure it isn't linked with faster attacks. It's really not a big deal. They don't do any damage. Okay. What did that bring us to in the path of building though? Here we are. Our max hit for Fizz only went up a little tiny bit. It is not very much stronger than before. We're going to just go ahead and ignore our lightning max hit. I promise I'll fix that in the morning. Whoopsie daisy. Don't run around with 60 lightning res all day. But a testament to how strong the build is, being as I am at 65%, having run 16 mod maps all day. We'll fix that. Don't worry about it. That was a mistake. I'm silly. But otherwise, our full DPS in Path of Building is now up to 22.5 million, which is quite a bit higher than last time. We've got quite a bit left to go. The next two things for damage, other than going into a dual cluster, will be to get a level 4 Empower, which will jump me up to 24.8, and a 21.23 gem, which will jump me up to 27. Then we start looking at Forbidden Jewels. Let me set that back so I do not give you a fake Path of Building. Alright, when we start looking at Forbidden Jewels, there are two options that people love that are really expensive. I probably won't go for these first. Profane Bloom is absolutely filthy for clear. It is disgusting. You get proper occultist pops everywhere you go. Gross. Void Beacon, exceptionally good for single target damage. Offers you nothing in the way of clear, but exceptionally good single target damage. Another minus 20 chaos res to add on top of all of the minus res that I have from all of my new jewels. Or the middle ground or middle of the road anoint, which is the one I normally go for personally, which is Plague Bearer, which gives you 30% area of effect, making your clear better, 10% more damage, and 10% reduced damage taken. So it's a little bit of tank, a little bit of damage, and a little bit of area. The beautiful part about Plaguebringer is that you don't need to get the Forbiddens for Plaguebringer. You can get the Forbiddens here, or Mistress, or Bone Barrier, or Unnatural Strength. Doesn't matter which one, whichever one you get. If you get Bone Barrier, you just spec out of it and spec into that one, right? Whatever, because we would just be taking 5 Ascendancies here. The only one you can't get on Forbiddens is Mindless Aggression because you have to go through it anyway. So any of the other 4 nodes, all up for grabs. So those are those options. I will not be using the Golem ones. I'm not interested in them. So these are the options that are middle road options that I prefer. These are the far more expensive options, but also more specialized. Specialize in bossing or ultimate single target. Specialize in clear with no buff to single target. All rounder. Right. That is all of the updates. We're probably going to continue doing every second day build updates, because I think that's going to work out. Upgrades nowadays are like 20 to 40 div minimum per upgrade, and I want to try and have a few of them done for each video. So there's our progress for the day. This is getting disgusting. Please do not think you have to take any of this to this level. I am already well past able to do tier 17 maps, well past being able to kill Ubers. We do this because we want to and for no other reason, just because I want to, and you can't stop me. All right, that is all I have. I will see everybody next time. Bye-bye.